See, African leaders are not the most corrupt leaders in the world. They are not. Nigerian leaders, South African leaders, Kenyan leaders, they are not the most corrupt leaders in the world. They are the dumbest, the most stupid leaders, but they are not the most corrupt. They are stupid because they seem not to realize that somehow somebody is manipulating them to loot the resources of Africa in the interest of the people manipulating them. That's the extent to which they are stupid and dumb. They get peanuts in the process. Peanuts out of the resources of Africa that they loot on behalf of their manipulators. But they fail to realize it. They think they are being smart since they get the peanuts to show. But the real corrupt leaders are the leaders in the US-led West, followed by the leaders of China. They are the real corrupt ones. Now, it is strange and funny because in these countries, they have zero tolerance for corruption. Yet, I am saying that they are the leaders, they are the most corrupt people in the world. How? Think about it. African leaders loot their resources. Where do they store those resources? Where do they use those resources? In Europe and in the North and America. Now see this. America, Europe, China, they never block corrupt monies from entering into their economies. Ask yourself, why? In fact, there are people who have postulated, and I believe them, that European economies and American economies, even Chinese, they are built with resources of Africa. I believe it. But how? Our leaders who are not smart enough to think first in the interest of Africa, who are not smart enough but believe they are smart because they get peanuts that they are offered by these corrupt leaders, the real corrupt leaders. They allow Africa to be shortchanged. And then they use those resources, even the peanuts they get out of it, to go and buy houses in Europe, to go and buy land in Europe, in America, in China, elsewhere. They store the money and hide it over there. US, Europe, UK controlled domains. And these monies and resources are used to develop US, Europe, China. They are used to develop them. And then you ask yourself the question, why is it that in Nigeria, the EFCC that America forced us to create, many people don't remember that the EFCC was actually forced on us. Obasanjo was forced to create the EFCC to stop illicit financial inflows into Nigeria. They don't want our Yahoo boys and our scammers to scam the whites and bring the money back into Nigeria. So they forced us to set up EFCC. Now, the EFCC goes after the Yahoo boys to help the Americans and the Europeans to repatriate their looted dollars. And they brag about it. Oh, illicit financial inflows. But the question that I need the EFCC to answer, and our African leaders to answer, what is the agency in America? What is the agency in Europe, in UK, in China that stops illicit financial inflows of Africa resources into their domain, into America? Is there any such? As powerful as the CIA and the FBI is, as powerful as their court system is in America and Europe, do they have a system that blocks Nigeria's corrupt money from going in there. We hear now that Wike has a $2 million house in Florida. The same thing with Festus Keyamo. In fact, there was this viral video that showed him bragging and showcasing and jogging in front of his $600 house in America, Texas, I think, if I remember correctly. Now, is there any British law, British agency like our own EFCC, American, Chinese, that stops our corrupt leaders from looting our money and sending it to Europe, to Switzerland, to Cayman Islands, to Panama? Is there? So it is only we that should be blocking illicit financial inflows. America will not block illicit financial inflows. Europe will not block illicit financial inflows. UK will not block illicit financial inflows. China will not block illicit financial inflows. In fact, they thrive on it. They have laws and systems that protect people who are responsible for such illicit financial inflows. Try now, go and repatriate Desiani back into Nigeria. In fact, I thought I was the one that observed it. Even First Post, Paki Sharma, also said it about India. You have people who loot resources in India, they go and hide in UK. And the UK have laws that protect such people from repatriation. And they protect such monies. So the real corrupt people are the leaders in the UK, in America, and in Europe, in fact, in the global north. They are the real corrupt leaders. Are our leaders corrupt? Yes. They are not just corrupt. They are corrupt to the extent that they are stupid and dumb. But the real corrupt leaders are in the West and in the East. How do we get out of this? We need leaders who will put Nigeria or Africa first. And to do that, to have those kind of leaders, because right now, can those leaders have access to leadership positions? No. The way the democracy that the Americans and the British are forced on us operates is such that it allows only corrupt leaders that can be manipulated by them to do corrupt things stupidly. I must add that, very, very stupidly. That democracy allows only such corrupt leaders to be thrown up, so that when those corrupt leaders get into positions of power in Nigeria, in Africa, then those corrupt leaders in the US-led West and in China will be able to manipulate those leaders to implement rubbish policies like devaluation of the naira, like subsidy removal, like increment in the price of things, tax the hell out of the people. They can now force those stupid leaders to implement stupid policies that will grant access to Africa's resources to the most corrupt leaders in the global north. That's why they gave us this democracy. But how do we get out of it? We must understand the different structures of it. For leaders that will put Africa first to come out, we have to create a level playing field. Politics as it is monetized. In fact, hyper monetized. They make it such that you have to have deep pockets that is only possible by corrupt means or associating with corrupt people. You have to have deep pockets to even get access to the political terrain straight from the political parties, and we have to stop that. So for us, we have to make sure that no political parties, particularly in a country like Nigeria, charges a dime to run for office. Once we do that, we have started the process of cleansing. Then we'll have to now go to the weaponization of poverty. Vote buying and vote selling will continue to be a thing until we de-weaponize poverty. And how can we do that? Well fund. We have to have a system that engages citizens in active production. Remember, active production in exchange for support. That is how the Chinese did it. That is how the Vietnamese did it. That is how the Singaporeans did it. Many people think it's about stopping corruption. Stopping corruption has its purpose, yes, and we need to stop corruption. But to develop, we need to engage the people in productive activities, particularly in agriculture, in technology, yes, industrialization. Engage them. And we have a solution like Wealth Fund that can help achieve that. Now, the vast majority of the people are not even participating in the politics. And it's because of impunity. People get discouraged when they see that leaders who have disregard for the rule of law keep getting nominated and even getting party ticket to run. So out of frustration, they just give up on the electoral process. And now they will tell you, oh, the elections are rigged. And rather than look for solutions to such rigged elections, they are okay. They just stay aloof, thinking that the politics of the day does not affect their personal lives. But they are wrong. Now, for us to get those people to participate in the politics, what do we need to do? Get rid of impunity. And that is where Law Patrol comes in. You need a system whereby the weak in the society have access to justice. Yes, have access to justice. Impunity will continue to reign today and grow fatter and get stronger so long as people whose rights have been violated and infringed do not have the means, the energy, or the time to pursue justice. And guess what? Justice is even more expensive than petrol now in Nigeria. It is more expensive than food. So people will rather spend their energy looking for money to feed themselves, right? Instead of, or rather than put such money to say they want to pursue justice. And of course, the wheels of justice grind slowly. And it may take a long time. And many of them may die in the process of pursuit of justice. So they would rather not. But it is dangerous. The more people refuse to pursue their rights, the more impunity will grow. And the worse things will get for them. It's a vicious cycle. So in order to get rid of voter apathy, in order to inspire Nigerians to come out and participate in the electoral process, we have to show them reason to see, to believe, to know that truly impunity has been destroyed and that no electoral official, no security agency, no judicial official, no thug, no candidate can with impunity violate the laws of Nigeria and get away with it. That will inspire people to participate in the electoral process and get rid of voter apathy. And when that happens, it becomes very, very difficult, if not impossible, to rig any election. So these are the solutions that we are pushing to change the course of Africa and indeed, particularly Nigeria. Don't fall for their talk when they say Nigerian leaders are the most corrupt. Are they culpable? Yes. But the real problem is those, the puppeteers that are puppeting the puppets. Look, African leaders, as corrupt as they are just the symptoms. The disease is the leaders of the global north. They are the disease. So if you want to get rid of corruption in Nigeria, you have to treat the disease, which is the US-led and the European-led and the UK-led and the Chinese-led global north. We have to get rid of it, even including Russia. Yes, they may serve our interests better than America from where I stand. But the truth of the matter is that at the end of the day, they put their nations first. And we need leaders who will put our nations first. They are the disease. If we want to get rid of corruption, simply blaming our leaders is not enough. Oh, we scream our leaders are corrupt. Oh, 1.2 trillion. Okowa. Where is that money? If that money is in Delta State, do you know how the economy of Delta would have changed? Wike, all the millions and millions of dollars, the allegations that are out there, if those monies were in Rivers, you know how the economy of Rivers would have changed? These leaders will loot those money, they will hide them used to buy properties in Europe, as if somebody is pursuing them from their own country. These people, they are in their 60s and 70s, oh, and then you wonder, shouldn't you, usually, I would think that even people who travel out in their youthful age, when they start getting to 60, 70, they start thinking of coming back home. But somehow, these leaders, to tell you how stupid and dumb they are in their 60s and in their 70s. Rather, they are thinking of building their homes. They are looting money in the favor of their enemies, and they are thinking that they are going to be safe in the land of their enemies, against the interest of their own country. What a shame. But we have a chance in our hand to change it. We have a chance. We have an opportunity to change it, and we can change it. And I beg you, let us change it. Impunity must go. Lawpatrol.net. Weaponized poverty must go. Wellfund.support. Political party weaponization must go. Abundance Party. Yeah? And then there must be free and fair election. This one is the most important one. Free and fair election. I said it before, I will say it again. Many of you are excited about the coalition. Look, I am not. Not because the coalition does not have its advantage. Does the coalition have its advantage? Of course. If elections are going to be free and fair, the coalition will have its advantage. But will election be free and fair in Nigeria? That's the question. Under a Tinubu, under an INEC that is under the control of a Tinubu boy, under a Senate or a National Assembly that is under the control of a Tinubu boy like Akpabio, can we have free and fair elections? We saw the result of the by-election that was just recently conducted. Does it look like these people are interested in free and fair elections? Does it? Look, if they will not give us free and fair election, with all the cry that we have been making about electoral reforms, that they are not even bothering, they are not even making comments about it. And that's how bad it is. With all the screamings that we have made about electoral reforms, even writing to the National Assembly, writing to senators, they have not even bothered to comment, to even acknowledge that, oh, somebody is talking about electoral reforms. Have you heard them? Have you heard Akpabio talk about electoral reform? Have you heard Tinubu talk about electoral reform? Have you? Even INEC, when they sent their request to the Senate committee or House of Rep committee on INEC, the recommendations they're asking for, did you see real-time election transmission there? Result transmission? They're not even acknowledging it. And then you have critical stakeholders in the society, religious leaders, pastors and imams, even babalawos, right? We believe so much in our babalawos. We feel that, oh, our traditional religion is very, very strong. But even these traditional leaders, can't they come out? Can't all the babalawos in Nigeria come out and say any leader that is corrupt, Shopono will kill that leader, or Ogun will kill that leader, or Amadioha will kill that leader? Can't our traditional leader come out and do that? Can't they, if they have so much power? But they are not coming out. Our religious leaders, quiet. Even to come and ask for something as neutral as electoral reform. When you ask for electoral reform, you are not supporting anybody. It's neutral. Abi, is there anybody who thinks that electoral reforms are bad? They are good. So if a traditional ruler comes, a religious leader comes up to say, give us free and fair election, he's saying something that is neutral, something that is supposed to be good. Our traditional leaders that are supposed to be so powerful, the Oba of Benin, the Oni of Ife, the Sultan of Sokoto, Alafi of Oyo, which one again? Olu of Wari, Alake of Egba, which one? All of them. Have you heard any of them talk about electoral reform? No. From religious leaders to traditional leaders to even political leaders. The other day, somebody was complaining that they are not seeing what even the opposition politicians are doing about pushing for electoral reforms. And it's true. In the Senate Committee on Elections, on INEC, you have a Senator Ereti Kingibe there. What bill has she pushed in favor of electoral reforms? None. Even when Randy Peters went to since Randy Peters went to her, have you heard anything from her about electoral reforms? So even opposition political leaders, your entertainers, all your entertainers, what are they saying? Have you, Davido the other day was in Atlanta shouting, oh, Nigeria is bad, Nigeria is bad. And we all clapped for him. Even when people criticized him, we clapped for him. The same Davido had opportunity to meet with Tinubu. Did he talk about electoral reform? Did he talk about how Nigeria was bad to Tinubu? Did he? He didn't. Have you heard the same Davido talk about electoral reforms? Something as neutral, as safe, as nobody will criticize you as a celebrity for requesting electoral reforms. Nobody will say, oh, you are siding with opposition or you are criticizing the government. Nobody will say that. But something as neutral as electoral reform, you won't have people, celebrities, not talking about it. Then you have the billionaire business people, the Aliko Dangotes, them, all of them. They're not talking about it. And what does this tell you? The media people, all the Arise News, the channels of this world, the TVCs, come on. These just exist to push the narrative and the agenda of their sponsors. That's all. And to feed you with propaganda so that they can keep you distracted. That's all. Because apart from that, what else are they doing for Nigerians? What useful thing are they doing for Nigerians? What? It's only things that are already trending on social media that they come to talk about on their stations to keep Nigerians distracted, occupied, because they know that we love such trending and rubbish things. They know, so they feed on it. So even the media, the educational system, they're not talking about something as critical as electoral reforms and pushing for it, calling on the right persons, for electoral reforms. They're not doing it. So how possible is it for us to get electoral reforms? The chances are very slim to zero. Now, if we don't get electoral reform, what should we do? Throw our hands in the air and say, oh, Nigeria is gone, Nigeria is gone, Nigeria is gone? Is that what we should do? Nigeria is gone, but somebody is still collecting the oil revenue and looting it and sending it to America and to Europe and to China. Somebody is still doing it too. So don't fall for this illusion that Nigeria is gone. Don't. Nigeria is sickly, Nigeria is in ICU, but Nigeria is still very much alive. And we must do something to cure her illness or to take her out of the ICU. Now, if they don't give us electoral reforms, what should we do? We have to create the reforms ourselves. Working within enabling laws, existing laws, we have solutions that can make elections of 2027 transparent. All you need to do is participate. Vote Watch is there. Election Watch is there. Vote Vision is there. So many solutions. All we need is for you to volunteer in those solutions to make the elections transparent. If elections begin to be transparent today, it will be impossible and difficult for people to rig. Yes, if you solve the problem of election manipulation, which is just one type of rigging, if you solve that problem, what do you think? You would have solved election malpractice, rigging, by at least 80%. The remaining type of rigging, they are minimal. The boldest type of rigging is rigging by INEC. It's only so much that thugs can do. Out of 79,000 polling units, you can't have thugs disrupting more than 20,000. If they even do 20,000, they try. So you see those election violence things, they are minute. You see vote buying. Those are little things. The major one is manipulation of results by INEC. And election, vote watch, transparent election will reduce that to zero. And then we can have leaders that will work in the interest of Nigeria. We got work to do, and we're ready to do it, but we need your support. Starting with, don't fall for this narrative that, oh, Africa is the most corrupt. Africa is not the most corrupt. Europe, America, UK, Chinese, they are the most corrupt. Our leaders are just dumb and stupid, failing to see that the monies that they loot to keep in the global north could be used to develop Nigeria. They are failing to see it. Nigeria is not industrialized. It doesn't bother them. They are okay buying and importing cars that we are not making here, when they know that every car that they import into Nigeria creates joblessness, unemployment, but they don't care. They don't care. Why? Because they were forced on us by these same most corrupt people in the global north. And that's what we need to change. And we have to do it by changing, attacking the system strategically and systematically.